This is Black Calm Morning, coming back to you today with the topic of immigration and, in particular, uh, undocumented workers. How does this affect the American Black? My concern is, well, one thing with immigration, there is nothing wrong with immigration. People, my grandparents came from other countries. We assimilated, we learned the language, and so I think immigration is a good thing. There's a lot of good in variety. But my concern is what happens when you have undocumented workers and how it specifically affects Black people, Black Americans that are living in the U.S. Okay, one thing that undocumented workers affect is schooling. A person that's on that is here undocumented may have children. These children have to go to school, and the school systems that they go into is generally not a rich white community. It's overwhelmingly Black neighborhoods. So when you have an influx of people who are undocumented, um, there's a lack of funding because when you're here lawfully, you're able to pay your taxes. Um, but if you're not, um, you're not putting in the system. And so those people who are here lawfully, let's say they're immigrants and they're here lawfully, they're paying their taxes, or let's say you're born here and you're paying your taxes, you're contributing into society. But when you have a large influx of people who are not paying their share, so to speak, in the system, and if they have children, let's say the children are not documented, and they're occupying seats in the classroom, and the classroom might be overpopulated, and there may not be enough books to go around for those students who are here lawfully or are American born. So this will suffer their education, their comfort in the classroom. If it's overcrowded and no books to go around, this will cause tension amongst the students. Okay, so there's not going to be any real learning taking place. I actually know of someone who uh, went into a school system in Queens, and the mother told me that there were no textbooks for their student, I mean for their child. So this person had relatives in another state. She had to send the kid to live with relatives so that they can go into a school system where they had books for the students. I think that's a basic right that every American citizen in public school should have textbooks so that they could learn. Okay, that's my first concern with regard to unlawful immigration into the U.S. There's also what is called the WIC system. It stands for Women, Infants, and Children. This is a a program where it's a federal uh, funded program uh, that um, supplies in part it supplements the nutrition of pregnant women and children up to the age of up to their fifth birthday. And in some communities in New York City, you have a very high proportion of women who are not here lawfully and they have children. The children are born here and they actually are entitled, um, even though they're undocumented, to be given this award. And in fact, we are instructed not to persuade them not to come to the WIC office. It would be a real big epidemic if uh, the federal government was um, screening the program and prevent these women who are here unlawfully or children that are here unlawfully this fund, I mean this benefit. There'll be mass starvations, and we don't want that either. But how does this affect the Black American or the African American here in New York City or in any other state? Well, because it's a federal program, it's not an entitlement program, which is different. An entitlement program is like food stamps. Food stamps is if you qualify, you are entitled to the food assistance. However, the WIC program is not an entitlement program. If you qualify and if there's funding available, then you can get, okay? And they can also, lessen your award too in this program. So if a community is not putting into the system of, I'm sorry, if they're not, if the population of a particular community is not contributing in the taxes of, put in taxes for the community, then it becomes a burden. And those who are here lawfully, those children who are born here, or and with parents who are here lawfully or born here, it's not enough. It's, it's not enough funding, and they can close a program, and it's unfair. Sorry, see, my dogs are getting emotional too now. They don't want their food to be interrupted either. Okay, but again, you have this could be an epidemic, and the money uh, could, since it's not an entitlement program, it could hinder those families who are here lawfully for their children and themselves to get this food assistance, and this is not good. Okay, my other concern is um, with schooling. Um, let's say with an internship, you have some schools, trade schools, that they send you to do what they call, I meant to say an externship. I know the situation, someone's in an externship. In this was in the food industry, and the owner of this business was had hired an individual. This individual was an undocumented worker. The person seemed like a nice person. If they had something, this person uh, lost it for a moment. This person was in the U.S. unlawfully, and they were very fearful for being kicked out of the country. And they were with this person at the externship. The person was this undocumented worker had flipped out on the train and was insistent that this person marry him so they can stay. This person is now terrified. The person reported this situation to the people in charge of the externship, the school, and the that particular job site. The person's externship was uh, taken away from them upon talking to the person that allegedly, the undocumented worker, says, "Well, I don't know what citizenship means," and so they thought, well, the person saying that you wanted the citizenship and you wanted to marry them, and they played dumb about what they're saying, and the other person believed them and didn't believe the woman who was being um, aggressively approached by this person. One thing with when I've learned my experience is that when someone is fearful, let's say, I know in another situation, someone wasn't here lawfully. They, they were good workers, they were nice people, but the fear of them being deported, the fear of their own young little kids um, being not having food to eat frightened them that much that they had a mental breakdown. And let's say these people have a mental breakdown in front of you and endanger your life, or you feel threatened. And that cheap labor is so valuable to some employers that here, if some, a U.S. citizen that's here and complaining about them, they say, hey, screw you. I don't care about your concerns. And they can get rid of you and keep the illegal. Why? Because it's cost effective, So I feel that our rights as as citizens, because of the greed of money in this country, that people, employers, find that find that having these undocumented workers so much more valuable than its citizens. And so this is a concern. I know about a situation also. It was in a restaurant, and they had a lot of undocumented workers. They were from Mexico, and this is in the state of Hawaii. And they fired the head cook, who was a woman of Japanese American ancestry. They were born and raised here in the state of Hawaii. And yes, Hawaii is a state of the U.S., but they were letting go Americans and keeping the undocumented workers. And I remember that the look that they gave uh, the person that was to be let go, and the smirk that they gave, and they gave a look like I know I'm wanted and you're not, and it had an impression on me, and I said, something, we Americans, we have to be careful. We have to be careful who uh, is allowed in the U.S. and how it specifically affects the Black American. Many of these undocumented workers, they, they, they may not know the English language well, but they have a mind and they could perceive how other groups are being treated and perceived by the ruling class here in the United States. And they know right off that blacks are not wanted, and that blacks are that they know blacks are going to be pushed out of the um, bottom jobs, the entry level jobs. Blacks will be forced out of the food industry, restaurants, um, and retail. So it is a concern that I have because they know that you're not wanted. They even have trucks. They have these white trucks that go into New Jersey, and they have people, um, undocumented workers, and they actually drive them uh, back into New York City, and they drop them off at certain businesses downtown Manhattan for for retail. And sometimes these individuals, they don't speak any English, and somehow they have a job there. And it's like wondering, well, what's going on? You know? Well, what's going on is that the country is being taken over by undocumented workers to replace Black Americans, and that they're forcing Black Americans to do alternative work like becoming doing illicit crime or forcing Blacks to enter the military and um, be concerning that your life might be taken in the military. So these things, it's troubling times for us. We have to equip our children. We have to put our foot down and get more involved politically regarding who your neighbor is. And who's coming into your neighborhood and how this is going to affect your children, because your children are going to be left without an education. They do not want to educate blacks in the school system. Blacks are being geared again to work as security guards or being forced to go into the military. And blacks are also being um, criminalized, criminalized by their daily activities and any infringement that they put the black male in particular in prison. And if they have a felony, then they cannot vote. Then they're ostracized in a lot of job opportunities, you know. So this is not good. So we have to be aware and we have to start thinking smart. Yes, it's good to love your neighbor. Yes, it's good to love other ethnic minorities, but some of these ethnic minorities may not love you. They may smile at you. They may even play the music you listen to. However, behind your back, they're saying things like, hey, let's try to trip this person so that we can get their position, and so we'll keep them out of their job. So we're going to be number one. So be aware. Not every um, foreigner that's here is smiling back at you. Be concerned with who you do business with and protect the interests of your children, just like every other group concerned about their families and friends. So again, I'd like to know what your comments and any concerns you have, and give me a thumbs up. Take care. Bye bye.